Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're taking a look at the new reveals from Warhammer World. This video is sponsored by CMO Games. More on that later. The Warhammer World Anniversary. See all the reveals right here. Warhammer stores around the world celebrate their opening anniversaries with unique miniatures and all kinds of activities. But when it comes to the beating heart of the hobby, Warhammer World itself, we like to make things a little special. Today, Warhammer fans are piling into Warhammer World to take part in a day of festivities, with brand new reveals to gawp at in the flesh. But don't worry if you can't make it all the way to Nottingham for an annual celebration. We've also got all the juicy bits right here for you. Belly your best wa and join the boys for another rampage across the galaxy, led by an all-new Big Mek loaded with snazzy weapons and Ork know-whats. The next Codex Orcs is on the way, and the burly new boss of Big Thinkin' is sight to behold. Also, every member of the Adeptus Custodes is a bona fide hero, which means that exceptional individuals that led them are truly among the mightiest warriors in the Imperium. Accordingly, the new shield captain is a majestic miniature dripping with gleaming detail, and they're headlining a new codex, Adeptus Custodes. Not all mortal followers of chaos are deranged hedonists and waste-crazed berserkers. Some hold the strict codes of honor, taking pride in their martial skills and oaths they swear. One such Darkoath warband, Brand's Oathbound, is a motley group of warriors set to take the mortal realms by storm with a blade and brawn. And last but not least, behold, the greatest team in Blood Bowl history have returned to the gridiron, and they're bringing the tricks of the woodland realms to even the playing field. Forget their small creatures and silly hats. The gnomes have come looking for a scuffle with animal companions and illusory magics aplenty, and a treeman or two if opposing players need some smashing into the sod. Alright, so we got 4 reveals from Warhammer World. Let's take a look. Warhammer World Anniversary, Big Meks get bigger, and a new Ork Codex. It's a simple fact that Ork technology is the best in the galaxy, or so the big green chap looming over our shoulders tell us. Not many boys have the technical know-whats to build their own ramshackle gear, however, so they rely on the gifted mechs, who possess rare engineering skills to craft their instruments of carnage. The biggest and strongest of mechs, known appropriately as Big Meks, possess prestige on par with war bosses, and now they're getting a new miniature to match their supreme stature. Alright, so here we got the reveal for the new Big Mek, and they did disclose that the Ork Codex is coming next. So we know it's going to be Orcs next, and then Custodes after that. So very cool. And it looks like they're showing off a bunch of stuff, and here we got the new Big Mek. So a lot of people were speculating that this was Orkimedes, but it does look like it is just a generic Big Mek. It is not a specific character, unfortunately. Or maybe fortunately, depending. And then obviously that was the new Codex coming as well. So very cool. This hefty lad has had enough of walking around on his own 2 feet like a chump, and is instead strapped into a rugged exo harness designed to carry the massive madcap weapons Big Meks are so fond of. He's loaded with minute mechanical details, from the wires and metal plates crudely grafted into his body to the torn apron filled with tools as though he's clanking straight out of his workshop. It's only fair that the biggest, smartest engineers keep all the best gubbins for themselves, and this gives the Big Mek a selection of powerful weapons to pick from. The odd boy engineer can pinch through power armor with a brutally hydraulic claw, or impressive new ventilation system in the tank hulls with a wiring grilla. He also comes with custom Mega Blasta, which can be traded out for a portable tractor blaster capable of dragging aircraft out of the sky. Alright, so very nice looking model right here. Obviously we see like a bunch of like skin graft, like body modifications. Very, very cool. Definitely a nice looking model. He has like an exo harness on. So super cool. He looks very chunky. Obviously we see some of the various different options right here. We got like the drill, we got the claw, and then see the guns as well. Alright, and then we have the Tracta Blasta stats. So it's anti-fly 3+, which means it's going to wound all aircraft on a 3-up. And because it's devastating wounds against aircraft, when it does wound them on that 3-up, it's going to automatically do devastating wounds. So very cool. It's 36-inch range, 1 shot, ballistic skill 5+, strength 10, AP -2, D6 +1. So because it's ballistic skill 5+, and a lot of aircraft have -1 to hit, it's basically going to be hitting on 6s. So this is not really a viable option, honestly. Even if it was hitting on 5s, with a reroll, it would still be like a 50% chance. So not exactly the most efficient. The Big Mek's extravagant personal technology isn't limited to weapons either. Their bionic exoskeleton incorporates a shock booster that makes boring holes in the fabric of reality doodle. With the flip of a switch, the mech and their entourage fly through the warp to emerge on the other side of walls, fortifications, and even enemy mobs. Perfect for getting into position without a big hollering charge. Alright, so we have the shock booster strapped onto his back. Very cool. You can reroll advance rolls made for this model's unit. In addition, each time this model unit makes a normal move, advance, or fall back until the move is finished, models in this unit can move horizontally through models and terrain features, but cannot finish a move on top of another model or its base. So it's normal move, advance, or fall back. It is not charge moves, but it is basically a teleport. So it can move through models and terrain features. So pretty cool for getting into position where you want, getting on the other side of a wall if somebody's like hiding in a ruin or something like that to get a shot on them, or getting into position for the actual charge, getting out of combat, etc. But the actual charge itself is not affected by this rule. If you want to get your hands on the biggest and most beautiful of Big Meks, you'll get your first chance in the new Ork Battleforce, the Stompa Boyz. As the name suggests, it stars one of the biggest plastic models in the Warhammer 40,000 range, the monstrous massive Stompa, along with a gaggle of hangers-on to witness the epic rampages. Alright, so we have the Ork Battleforce Stompa Boyz. All in all, you get the new Big Mek, the Stompa, 10 Boyz, a Trukk, and 10 Lootas. If you ever wanted to know what it feels like to unleash a Titan scale beating on all your sad orkless friends, this is the time. Just look at it compared to Imperial Knight. Alright, so before we do that, let's take a look at this box. So unfortunately right now, the Stompa is really, really bad. I mean, I could be wrong about this, but from what I understand, the Stompa is basically like unusable. So 10 Boyz is good, Luda/Burnas is good, the new Big Mek is very cool, and then obviously a Trukk is always nice. But putting a Stompa inside this box set when it's like almost a $200 model definitely just feels like Games Workshop trying to unload some of its stuff. Now, the new book is coming out shortly afterwards, so maybe that's why the Stompa has been so bad. They nerfed it. It was already bad, and then they just didn't bother because they knew the Codex was on the way. So maybe they're going to redeem themselves. It's definitely a possibility. They obviously nerfed Knights and then brought that back a little bit. They nerfed Wraith Knights and haven't really messed with it since then. So maybe they're going to make Stompas good again. But regardless, you have to think that Games Workshop has a ton of Stompas just hanging out, sitting around, trying to be sold. So this definitely feels like a way to get rid of the Stompas. But hopefully I'm wrong. Alright, so here we see the picture of the Stompa in comparison to Imperial Knight, and it is definitely a big boy. But not least, you'll need the updated rules for these boys from the latest Codex. Orcs has everything you need. It's packed with the background lore of the biggest Woz and the mightiest warlords. And then the modern day goings on of our favorite Green Horde. And we'll have more from its packed pages as we get closer to release. So no actual date or anything like that release. So I'm sure Games Workshop is going to do like a month long or whatever, like lead up before they actually put it out. So I'm thinking it probably goes on pre-order sometime in March and then comes out like early April on that 2-week pre-order period. But that's just a guess. Also, very strange, it is just a Battleforce. It does not include the Codex. So it's not actually like an Ork launch box, including the book and cards like we've seen recently, which have been really popular. This is just straight up a Battleforce, and then the Codex is sold separately. So very unfortunate in my opinion. As one really nice thing about when they do those launch boxes is, it makes it less appealing for people to buy a bunch of them because you don't want to get stuck with a ton of Codexes. Most people only need one. So maybe somebody buys 2 and sells off their extra Codex, but definitely is something that helps the community to get these things like spread out more. Alright, so next let's take a look at the Adeptus Custodes. Warhammer World Anniversary, a new shield captain brings the heat for Codex Adeptus Custodes. So I'm thinking that's immediately just the first word is a mistype. I think it says for, not just or. So we'll just pretend. For every vile enemy, the Imperium has an appropriately brutal solution. The Astra Militarum is a brute force hammer. The Adeptus Sororitas bring faith and fire to scorch away corruption, while the Space Marines are an elite strike force to armored super soldiers. Yet when the security of the throne world hangs in balance, this duty falls on the shoulders of the Emperor's personal bodyguard, the Adeptus Custodes. These Ormite-clad warriors are also known as the 10,000, and they now have a fearsome new shield captain ready to lead them into battle. Alright, so same thing once again. It does look like it's just going to be a character and then probably the Codex as well. As we know, Custodes are after the Orcs. So interesting choice by Games Workshop. I would then expect there to be also a box going along with it because GW likes to just do the same thing. So pretty cool looking model right here. Definitely lots of detail. We see a Malta on his actual spear. Here's the Codex. Very cool. That is a pretty short preview there. Okay, there we go. So yeah, not bad. Definitely a different look. Previously, you had to buy like one of the box sets and then build your own. So I doubt they're going to like actually redo those boxes. It looks like you just be able to buy this actual Custode shield captain separately. And then he does have a different option in that Melta Spear. So there's an incentive obviously to go out and pick him up because I'm assuming the Melta Spear will have a nice profile. Shield captains rank amongst the greatest warriors in the known galaxy, equipped with superlative strategic abilities and combat prowess, not to mention an armory more finely wrought than any other in the Imperium. With an absolute mastery of weapons and will, shield captains are large and very much in charge. The Custodian Guard and Custodian Wardens box both include the options to build one of your precious warriors as a shield captain. But this new plastic miniature represents a striking standalone alternative, featuring a new loadout and a choice of helmeted or bare head. Alright, so here we see him. Obviously the bare head, really, really nice looking detail on that. Definitely would make for a nice paint job, as we can see. And then here we can see the shield, definitely a different look to like your traditional shields. And then of course like the spear with the melta built in. And then here we see the helmeted version. So very cool. The plume is actually built onto the actual armor, and then you swap out the head. Very nice looking model. Few things can hope to defeat a shield captain in close combat. And when these veteran commanders lug on ornate Presidium shield into battle, they become one-man strong points fit to fend off whole armies. Naturally, the greatest defense is a good offense, and a devastating pyrithite spear adds some serious offense to a shield captain's arsenal. The opulent weapon dates back to the earliest ages of the Imperium, an elegant power spear, which trades the traditional custodian boltcaster for a high-power melta beam to deliver some eye-watering output up close. So here we see the stats on this spear. Pyrithite spear shooting, melta 2, range 12, attacks 1, ballistic skill 2+, strength 9, AP -4, d6 damage. So within 6, it's going to be a d6 plus 2 damage. Obviously, you're going to be wanting to get this guy into combat. So you're looking at like 3 to 8 damage with him. So really nice. And then Pyrithite Spear melee. So attack 7, weapon skill 2, strength 7, -2 AP, damage 2. So very nice stats. Now a quick message from today's sponsor. CMO Games has been selling Games Workshop products online for over 20 years. They carry the full line of Games Workshop products, including Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, necromunda, Blood Bowl, paint tools, and more. Almost all Games Workshop products are priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games takes pre-orders for most Games Workshop products released at their earliest date possible. 12:01 a.m. on Saturday, they go live. Most of these pre-order products are also priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games offer free shipping in the US 48 with an order of $50 or more. Their customer service is top-notch, and they ship most orders within 24 hours. Visit CMOGames.com using the affiliate link in the description and let them know that you heard about CMO Games from Warhammer Man. Now, back to the video. The first place you'll be able to acquire this new shield captain is in the Auric Champions Battleforce. Alongside the Pyrithite Spear-toting leader, you'll get 5 Custodian Wardens, 6 Allarus Terminators, 6 Vertus Praetors who soar into the battle on Dawn Eagle jet bikes. Man, I hate to say it, but I'm definitely right on this one, because this is the exact same situation right here. So you have the new character, you have 5 Wardens, which both would be very good in game terms, and then you have 6 bikes, which as of now are not very good in the meta. They're not terrible, but they're not that great, and then 6 Terminators. I can't even remember the last time I saw someone fielding 6 Terminators. Typically, people are taking them in like very small numbers. And as of late, Games Workshop has been packing them into all their box sets. So most people that have been playing Custodes have plenty of them. And most people that would want to start playing them would only want like 3. So in my opinion, it would have made a lot more sense to mix this up a little bit. Maybe put in like regular Custodian Guard and leave out 3 of the Terminators. Same thing with the bikes too. You get 3 bikes already in the combat patrol. So if you are starting a new army or you already have that combat patrol, you're going to end up with 9 bikes. That just seems very, very excessive to me. So this, again, both these boxes really feel like Games Workshop wanting to unload some models that aren't selling that well. Now, maybe I'm wrong on this one. It's definitely a possibility. Maybe the new rules are going to be absolutely amazing for Terminators and Stompas, bikes included. But as of now, this 100% feels like them trying to move models that are not good in game terms by packing them into box sets. And then essentially putting the new character behind a paywall of models that aren't that good. Doesn't mean that these aren't good box sets. Doesn't mean they won't be good value. It just means Games Workshop is not doing what's best for the actual customer, what's best for the actual gamer, the player. They're doing what's best for them. To find all the latest rules for these paragons of combat, look no further than the new Codex Adeptus Custodes. It contains up-to-the-minute background information on the Adeptus Custodes and datasheets and detachments covering the Emperor's Bodyguard and the Sisters of Silence. We'll have more information on just what's inside closer to release. Don't miss anything from today's reveal event. Head on back to the preview hub to browse everything that has been announced today. So here we see the new cover. Very cool, very nice piece of art on there. And I don't know if anybody else caught it, but in the actual video, it said something about the March of the Custodes or something like that. So I'm assuming that that is Games Workshop using like the dual meaning, as in like they're coming in March, or at least like going up for pre-order in March. But there's definitely a possibility that they're just saying like they're marching forward, and it has nothing to do with the month of March. So a couple cool new characters, a couple battle forces to go along with them, and then obviously the Codexes not far behind. This video is getting pretty long here though, so we're going to go ahead and just speed through this. So we have the new Darkoath miniatures, and this is a TV show that they have, or one of their cartoons, and this is like a warband being sold separately. So these will be usable in Sigmar, probably warcry as well. Really nice looking models right here. So we have one mounted model. I like the skull face on the horse. And then we have like one kind of like sorcerer caster looking character with some like weird stuff going on here. Obviously like crouched down and then has like some kind of stuff to make it look like an animal. And then we have like 3 individual foot soldiers. Really nice looking sculpts right here. As always, Games Workshop knocking it out of the park with these. These definitely look like they could be like an Underworld's warband, but I haven't seen anything like that. So I'm thinking it's more like Naive Black Talon. Really, really nice looking models though. Very, very cool. Again, just love the actual poses and everything. Beautifully done. These would go really nice with the actual Darkoath Savages like warband for Warcry. Again, really cool. Like it looks like maybe not necessarily a human crouched down. There's something weird going on with like the fingers right here. But we see like, you know, more of a normal hand over here. And then this looks like its head's like bent forward, and then it has something big like underneath on its back. And then the antlers coming out of that, sort of like a deceptive like kind of shape or form. Very cool though. Definitely nice like a model. And then here we see the mounted warrior as well. So really cool. Okay, and then we got a little book to go along with it. And like I said, this is all based on one of their cartoons. And then finally, also we have for the Blood Bowl Warband, some gnomes coming back right here. So Games Workshop leaning in super hard on like the pets and the animals, and they have seen people get excited for them in the past. So here is a goose. So I don't know, maybe if you're a Canadian, this like really excites you, or there's some other like geese lovers out there. I'm not impressed. Like, I think it's cool when you do like dogs or maybe some cats or whatever. But Games Workshop has clearly went in hard on like the FOMO money grab of like animals and animal companions. And at this point in time, it's getting like a little bit excessive. But very, very cool models. Definitely a big fan of the actual gnomes and everything. Cool to see them coming back. We've got like, I think this is a badger right here as well. Really, really nice looking models, definitely. Can't actually tell what this is. Looks like maybe, I was thinking maybe a fox with a football in its mouth, but I'm not totally sure. But we got like some pipes going on here. Very cool. Here's a little fox. So yeah, some nice looking stuff. Definitely some nice models here. Big fan of these. Looks like you get quite a few of them as well. And then here we see like Tree Man Hero coming back. Awesome, awesome models. Looks like a couple different potential builds. It does look like the same actual model, and then you just have like 2 different ways to build it. But really, really nice stuff right here. Definitely leaning in on the woodland creatures. Really, really nice stuff right there. So I'm sure Blood Bowl players are super excited. So that is it for the Warhammer World reveals. Very cool. Definitely some interesting, cool models here. Some new books coming for 40K. Very exciting. Does feel like a bit of a money grab. Just locking 2 new characters behind battle forces without the codex is not ideal for customers. And then on top of that, it definitely feels like the composition of the box sets is much more towards stuff that hasn't been selling and much less towards what is good in game terms. But obviously, if the books are coming out in and around the same time, that could 100% change and prove me wrong. Games Workshop definitely has a way of sort of cycling through what's good and what's bad to help sell models. So if something has been bad for an edition or 2, oftentimes they'll make it really good in the next edition so that people will pick up a bunch of them. So that is definitely a possibility. Really cool new character models. Definitely super excited for the Codexes. And then obviously nice new Blood Bowl and Warhammer Age of Sigmar reveals as well. Let me know what you're most excited about, what you're going to be picking up. Always like to hear back from you guys in the comments. Special thanks to CMO Games for sponsoring the video. Check out the link in the description to save 15% on Games Workshop products. That's it for today. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.